What buttons? What button's the on button? I don't know how to start this thing anymore. Where am I? Hey guys, how's it going? We're live with the Metal Lab. It's been a while since I've seen you guys. I am joined this week. I'm joining you guys this week. How about that? Let's start with that. I'm back. I got a little bit of a reprieve. I think through most of April, I should be okay to kind of in and out of the show. So I'm going to give Jay a bit of a break for a little bit, but not too much of a break. Keep him busy.
Keep me on my toes.
Yeah, he's also joining me. Jay, say hello to everybody.
Hi, everyone.
We're also joined by Diego this week. How you doing, Diego?
Hey, what's up, guys?
All right, so let's get right into the news portion of the show because we're going to split up news because we have a couple things to cover for news that are small, minor items. Then we're going to talk about this weekend at WKOs because we were at some of them. Talk about our experiences, how good and bad they were, and then we can go back to the big piece of news that came out of this week. So our news is not in chronological order as I'm going to present to you, but the first thing, which is a more minor thing, and it's kind of a rehashing of old wounds that I wasn't here to talk about, but it is the Nationals and Worlds. It's not really so much an update as it is just a kind of a reminder of the things that were discussed. One of the most important ones was splitting up of U.S. and Nationals, or U.S. World and Worlds was a thing that's both been requested and was going to just happen. It's kind of what they cover in this. I'm not going to reread the whole thing, but they're saying, you know, there's a lot of fan cry for Nationals and Worlds to get split up. And it's, you know, it's kind of an important thing for them to kind of move them apart. And I'm sure it's a decision they'd already been planning because honestly, U.S. Nationals being at the same venue as Worlds was kind of a stopgap measure to figure out some kind of things happened and they couldn't run them separately. I don't know the details, but that's neither here nor there. So Worlds is still getting pushed back until close to the end of the year. They understand that some people have an issue with it, but unfortunately, it's going to be the way it is. U.S. Nationals is still occurring at Origins. I think you should go to that if you were originally still planning to go to that, because now you're actually going to be able to have a chance to revel in that if you happen to win it. Because a lot of people that aren't probably the three of us on this screen. Who won U.S. Nationals 2 years ago? Diego, do you remember?
2 years ago, no idea.
Yeah, it was Scott Crampton.
You got it.
Jay, do you know who won last year?
Yeah, it was Dustin.
That's right. Dustin Cedars won. Diego, did you know that?
I remember that Scott won, but not. I was thinking about he won this year, but I was mistaken the years.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. But that's the thing is, it all gets combined into that whole Worlds thing. We in Canada, we know who very clearly who won because, well, we Canadians were a little angry that they're all Americans.
I remember who won the Brazilian ones.
Yeah, and you know, we have months to kind of stew on it and think about it and revel in it if you are the winner. So I felt good about getting third place. I'm not even kidding you. So hopefully it gets moved past the usual May long weekend we have it. They're still working out the details as to where Worlds is going to be. There's a lot of speculation as to, because they said it's going to be in the fall. The fall runs any time between, like, I think it's late September and kind of late November is where the kind of falls in. My understanding is there's a New Jersey Comic Con around that time. There's also PAX Unplugged, which happens in Philadelphia. I feel like PAX Unplugged is what Wizard World used to be. Oh my gosh, I got the hiccups and I'm gone live. What's the matter with me? This is going to be the worst show ever. I apologize, folks. Anyway, so that's kind of the thing. Their update is, we're doing this. I'm sorry. We understand that some of you are not happy with it. And I understand they only gave 3 months notice that they're changing this. So if your big plan was Worlds was a big part of the Nationals, of the trip to Origins, it's an unfortunate loss. Nationals is still going to be there. So it's not like there's no WizKid stuff. You kind of have to take the high with the low, or, you know, just find a way to get as much as your money back on refunds as you can. Or check out the other stuff. I mean, Origins is a fun place if you really like board games. I mean, it's not going to be limited to just those who won your various WKOs still. because that was a thing they did. It's like, well, we have 2 big events to run. Only the people who are pre-qualified for U.S. Nationals could go in. They're gonna run grinders this time. Your last chance qualifications in the U.S. Nationals. It's not just the same way as last year. They just haven't announced that yet. That's so like the speed of announcements is WizKids has got to really get a little bit faster. And they really got to kind of get those stopgaps in there. Like, hey, this is how we're changing it. And then this extra detail, which is an important element to this part, and then this part over here has to change, and a little bit more detail in things could be required, a little bit better timing. But it's hard to say why they got stuck with this timing. Did they all of a sudden get told you can't run as much as you used to at Origins? Is their rent running out, or the rent on their space running out on Origins? There's a million things it could be. Anyway. But it's kind of a non-message they sent. It's like it's happening. Sorry. That said, there's a quick update in regards to the 2018 rules. Long and the short of it is they got a little bit more fan feedback as far as the rules that we have are concerned. But they also highlighted. Now, this is for the 2018 Powers and Abilities card. I'm guessing there's an update coming towards the end of the year. I don't know what set it's going to be a part of.
Batman.
There we go. It's going to be part of the Batman set. And they're re-looking at Force Blast, Earthbound, Leap, Climb, and Phasing, Super Strength, Charge and Combat Reflexes, Mind Control, Battle Fury, Pulse Wave, Quake, and Outwit as part of their rebalancing efforts. It's like, so a lot of the powers that didn't get massive changes but also got massive changes are kind of here. There's just a lot here. And now it's speculation time. Diego, which of these powers, pick one of these powers that you most want to see a change and what you would change about it.
Let me think here. The only one I would actually change is the mind control, because I think the new version is really weak to what it should be. Because the only move without being able to choose something, to do something with the character that isn't like remember the old Shatterstar that could jump anywhere in the map? Being able to mind control a character without being able to use the jump or choose any special effect that he has is a little meh.
Fair enough. Jake, your thoughts?
I feel like Leap probably needs the help the most, and maybe some sort of passive improved movement, as opposed to you only get it if you do an actual move action, considering that it's not so great when you just have Leap, although they really don't give it out on its own anymore. So it's kind of whatever.
Yeah. Now, my speculation, I noticed that Charge and Combat Reflexes are in the same line. I don't think that's an accident. I feel like instead of, and this is my speculation, instead of completely ignoring knockback, they're going to half knockback or something to that effect. Would be neat. I'm speculating on that. I also agree that Leap Climb, oh my God, does that need some love? Because I think it's the one power that's only ever been nerfed since it started. So it's hard to call on that one. But yeah, I'm hoping that, like, because we've got so many different ways now of throwing out knockback, but ever since that's happened, I've seen so much combat reflexes since the rules change. It's the weirdest thing. It's like, why are we all of a sudden everybody have combat reflexes when I have 8,000 new ways to do knockback? You're not going to let me do it anymore. Come on. Right? Anyway, that said, those are the smaller pieces of news this week. There's one more big one, but we're going to talk about our WKO experiences this weekend. As you know, that's a big part of the conversation, and the next part is also a big conversation that leads to another bigger conversation. Anyway, that said, I'm pretty sure I did the worst out of us in the WKOs. Because when it comes down to it, all right, so this is over at Whitby, down at Comic Book Addiction. It was X-Men Sealed, and I believe, and Jay was with me at this one. It was on Saturday. X-Men Sealed, I've now played it twice, and I don't think I've enjoyed it any time. I thought at first that this set was going to be a lot more interesting in Sealed than it turned out to be, and I feel like they've gone backwards in Sealed. That's just my opinion. My thoughts, it's my experiences, but this experience is also only based on 2 tournaments, whereas Harley Quinn and the Gotham Girls, I got like 5 or 6 experiences of Sealed, and I was really able to take that one in and enjoy it. And the set previous to that, Star Trek, I believe I went to 2 different Sealeds, and I had a lot of fun. with that one. Felt it was really well balanced. Thor was really good sealed as well. What was the one before Thor was Avengers Defenders War. So like they were on a really good hot streak for great sealed sets, and then I don't know, I feel like X-Men somehow turned into a step backwards. Anyway, that said, my pulls could best be described as a dumpster fire in a desert. There's no chance of water. And my rare pulls were Brew and M, so they obviously had to make the team somehow. And I ended up going with the uncommon Magneto because TK and a little bit of damage potential plus that whole knockback thing I was discussing could go a long way if used. And then I had the common Iceman on my team along with Skin. It was a 300-point team on the dot. Round one was against local player Patrick. The best description of this game was I hit 0% of the attacks I made, which was approximately 4 or 5. My opponent, Patrick, hit just about every single attack roll he made, except for one, which was a critical miss towards the end of the game that would have killed my M. Shortly after he made that attack, it was my turn, and time was called. It was a 0-point loss, or 0-point draw, came to a roll-off, and I won. I've now played in 2 games in tournaments ever that went to roll-off, and I've won them both. My goodness, dice have turned around on me. And they've also been the last 2 tournaments I've played in, I want to point out as well. My second round against Rory, a kind of a rematch from the WKO at Jackson Queen in the last set of them. We played each other in the finals. His team, Patrick's team consisted of a Storm, both common and uncommon Iceman, and a Kitty Pryde and an Angel. Basically, he had 2 Perplexers. So he didn't need to roll particularly high, and he was capable of doing a fair bit of damage to my team. And like every hit made me go. Rory, on the other hand, played a team that consisted of the rare Professor X, the common or uncommon Beast. I couldn't remember which one. Sync and the X Student. The X Student was played 25 points with the Plasticity and Poison Dial. And it was Sync and Cypher played at a 70-point dial. And he won map and put us in the Bifrost. This game, in the 50 minutes that we had in the time limit, was played for 10 minutes. The rest of it was all positioning and doing nothing. If you watched this game, you did not have fun watching this game.
I was next to you guys. It was painful.
It was brutal. We were running around each other and doing nothing. And I had 2 tokens on the board to mark where the game would start. Where the second I crossed this line, Rory was going to own my face if I didn't make it worth it. And like just as I was in a position to use my Professor X to TK somebody to do something, I started with Skin doing an attack on his X Student, which he left in a position out away from the Professor X, so he wasn't in the defend range, I was able to maximize the 2-square reach with Skin, and I killed the X Student. Oh my gosh, because that was the only thing that died. Because 10 minutes gets called right after that, and then I went full whole hog at him. I went on a full hypersonic move to attack something else to try to damage. I missed that attack because that's what M did for me all tournament, was miss attacks. Every time I've played her, 100% of her attacks have missed for me. It's been my nightmare. And then I followed up with Brew coming out there as well. To do some kind of outwit nonsense to somebody who was nowhere near Cypher. It's honestly, and then afterwards, Rory made an attempt to counterattack. His Professor X, thank goodness, was a miss, and then everything else was little pokes at my M. And I was able to weather the storm, and then it was going into my turn. I was starting to line up some actions, and then time was called. I was like, well, 3 turns of this game is all we got, and to actually perform actions. 25 points was all I scored. He wasn't able to get any of my team. So I was going into third round 2-0 with 25 points. Third round against Mike White. You've seen him on the show. And this is where my team, not only did it run out of tricks, but I knew it was completely outclassed by anything in the same winner's bracket. Mike had an old man Logan. He had a Kitty Pryde. He had the map roll. He won and put us in the WizKids office. Kitty Pryde in the WizKids office, man. where everything's made up and the walls don't matter. I could have played this game where I kind of sat still and forced him to come to me, but I didn't want to like that. That wasn't doing well for me, and I kind of wanted to get some points in case my inevitable loss was putting me at 2-1, and I'm sure my inevitable fourth round loss would put me at 2-2 and maybe put me in contention. But then Jay pointed out that like we were only going to get 3-1s in, so I was like, all right, well, I mean, let's try it. Let's try to get some points. And I scored 5 times more points in that round than I scored in my previous 2 wins, and I lost. Oh, I lost hard. I'm missing every single attack again. But Brew couldn't miss. Brew was hitting 9s and 8s. Oh boy, and Super Senses was just not letting that happen. Yeah, so no amount of my hits were gonna stick, and Mike was able to kill my team, go on for the win on that one. My fourth round opponent was Rick. I also had an old man Logan, had a Storm, had everything, and just my dice were just not gonna hit. I lined up as many possible hits as I could, and you know when you need 7s, that 46% chance is actually my 44% chance to miss is my 56% chance. Let's not kid ourselves. I missed every single attack once again, and was not able to capitalize or get out of the way of anything. And Rick was just able to slowly close in on me, and just like because he was able to get hits and I couldn't weather that storm long enough. Eventually, things just started dying on my team. I was able to maybe score 50 points in that game. I did not have a particularly good game at that point. Then I went on to a battle royale. Me and Rory and 2 other players had probably the most miserable pulls in a battle royale ever pulled, but we still had a ton of fun with it and laughed our butts off at terrible rolls and terrible results. And then we had another one where we overpulled, and there was a chase. Everybody, one player pulled a chase, 2 players pulled a super rare, and one player pulled a prime. That kind of made our day for the rest of it. Overall, it was. I had a lot of fun playing the best that I could with the figures that I had. In hindsight, my 2 opponents in the first 2 rounds got robbed. I should have been 0-4, beyond a shadow of a doubt. But then again, the second round I would have played against a completely different person, might have been a different result. But still, my team was definitely deserving of like an 0-4, not a 2-2. My team overperformed in a lot of the games. So that was my results for WKO. No lockjaw for me. Diego, how did you fare at your WKO down in Brazil?
The first day was really good.
Wait, first day?
Yeah, we had 2-day events.
Oh my goodness.
Because it was 5 rounds in the first day, and the second day was the top 16. On the first day, my first match I was playing the Chase Magneto, Captain America, Lila Chen, and Moira. And then my first match was against Diego Silva. He was playing Overdrive, General Lane, Hulk, the Fast Force one, and the Hulk has a Supreme Intelligence, and I think it was 2 Hulks. So that's like going straightforward, quick everyone. But since I have the Captain America and Calvin the Hawkeye, I had more mobility. I KO'd his Overdrive before he did anything, so the game was quickly. The second game was really similar because the opposing team was Dr. Octopus, Overdrive, more Octopus and Overdrive. Brazilian meta is usually filled with lots of Overdrive and Octopus. The thing with most find will be these 2 combination. So the third match was the match I played against another Thiago. His team was a really creative team and a really good team. He was using the Goblin King on the lower dial, the Tangent Green Lantern, the 45 the Restriction Green Lantern. He was using also Head Leader, Surtur, and Mini Shredder. So has Mini Shredder, who is really difficult to KO, can call in Green Arrow and other tough guys. Goblin King, he was playing like a supportive figure, getting probability control, telekinesis, positioning the other guys. If you go in straight forward and KO Surtur, turns Green Lantern brings Surtur back. Red Leader gives Surtur plus 3 damage, and Surtur retaliates for 6 damage. So you have to KO Turns Green Lantern, then you KO Surtur to fight against his team. It was really tough game. I won by like 10 points or 15 points when the time was called. The other game was the game I lost on the Swiss. It was against Minotti. He was using Devil Dinosaur, Al Jordan, a Carnage, and Nighthawk. Another really tough team because they didn't have bonuses to move my team. Since the Nighthawk, because my team Lila has 14 speed with the -3 from carrying my team, +3 from Captain America, but was only -3, so I only moving 11 squares. And he was making pogs and giving defenses to Al Jordan, calling tough guys and telekinesis positioning with the Devil Dino. So when the time was called, I lost by 15 points because he killed my Moira on the last turn, and that turned the game. In the last match was against Tawil. He was using the Dreadpool with the Thunderstrike, Peace Machine, Skyscraper Wonder Woman, Carnage, and there was one more figure that I'm not remembering. I think it was Overdrive or some carry. I can't remember which exactly. But his team was really good. The only problem was Pedro and we played a lot against Dreadpool, so we know exactly how to KO him. So we made all the tests against Dreadpool to know how to beat it. So the game was really easy because I just moved out with Super Senses. Hawkeye did 2 damage, then Magneto did 3 and 3. Because without Super Senses and 2 damage, he continues to Super Senses. Without it, he has nothing again. The 3 damage from Magneto takes him to the regeneration click, and then he's KO'd. And then this was the first day. The second day in the top 16 was like, okay, I played 5 matches for nothing because why play 5 matches if the top 16 cut? But then the first game was against Joker and Lex duo, and I lost the map. I was using X-Men team, but he was using got Underworld with +6 or 7, so he won the map. Went to a map, the map really few blocking, so I don't have a place to hide my figures. So and he got the first turn, so he moved it to the middle of the boxing ring, and I was like, okay, if I don't go straight forward now, he'll get me in the next turn. I have only one option: go straight forward or wait to get shot next turn. So I was okay. I can go to call Nick Fury and make a miracle and need a 9 or a 10 to hit the Lex Luthor, or I can go striking him with everything I got. Hope I KO the many figures as possible. I can hope that Magneto survive the next turn and then try to hit again and KO Lex Luthor. So the problem was I did the second option. I go everyone straight forward, KO lots of thugs, KO a lot of minions, and but on the next turn, the Joker and Lex KO'd my Magneto because he called in the Kingdom Come Superman, hit me for 6 damage, throw me at the wall, and 1 more damage of the knockback.
Mm-hmm.
So this was only way down. And that where I ended my Whiskey's Open.
Happens, man. Happens. So interesting to have a 2-day WKO and have a top 16 cut, but I believe you were mentioning before the show that you only had the 1 prize kit, so you ended up having to cut a 16 for prize distribution. It gave some people a little bit of an extra chance there, eh?
At least that.
Yeah.
But just one good news that the WizKids will make the nationals in Brazil this year.
Awesome. That's good to hear. It's good to get more countries out there for the for our national events. That's for sure. All right. Jay, you were at the same event as me. How'd you feel?
Oh, it's the same story, just my team was a little better.
Oh. So you have less of an excuse.
It was Title Magneto, Skids, Common and Uncommon Iceman, Common Cyclops. Round 1. Who was round 1 against? I know I won it.
Ah, oh, wow.
I
I beat him, so I didn't have to remember who he was.
I should have pulled up the win, but I'm on my girlfriend's computer, so it's harder to do.
Oh, man.
I remember winning the game, but that's pretty much it. Round 2 was against Aiden. Yeah, Aiden, who was running 150-point Cyclops, Darwin, Student Mystique, and the Cuckoo with TK to start. Yeah, it sounds about right. And he won map and put us on the Star Trek indoor dungeony, whatever it's called, map. And he had the advantage because he had the Cyclops ignoring blocking from line of fire. So it's just a matter of me creeping up, trying to get some shots in, but those shots were missing because Magneto just did not want to hit with a 12.
Jay, you forgot your first round was against Trevor?
Oh, God, yeah, that was horrible. He had a really good team, and, yeah, was only Wolverine, low point Banshee, common Marvel Girl, uncommon Beast, and something else I can't remember, but it was really good because it was only Wolverine, and he just could not hit a thing. Just could not hit anything. He should have won, and he did not. Yeah. But he took some points. But he should have won that game easily. It was just a matter of dice didn't want to work. And then so I lose to Aiden because I can't roll dice. And then
you can. The dice just didn't want to show up for you. That's all.
No, I think it was my stupid MetaLab dice. I hope Mike Backley knows that he made me lose. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was my Black Adam dice, which originally came from the Windsor Super Q. So Dan Upham made me lose.
Hey, he was there. You could have just yelled at him while you were there.
I should have chucked him in his head. Damn you, Black Adam.
He probably threw his dice in the street today, or that day. So.
Oh, man. I guess George is also partially responsible because he likes Black Adam. Take that, George. But round 3 was against James, who ended up winning the event with Prodigy, Dust, Mercury, Common, Cyclops, someone else, I can't remember. That character was not alive at the end of the game. Did not win him the game. Basically, he wins map, picks Mourner Island. He moves up a little. I move up a little. I end up being able to get a shot for to kill. This was like my main attack that actually hit. It was a 12 with Magneto on a 17 on Prodigy to kill him, and then I was able to barrier up with Skids to be fully defended afterwards. And basically, I couldn't hit stuff. I missed 12 on 18s to kill Common Cyclops at least twice. And it got to the point where it was down to my Magneto, who was damaged, Skids on her last click, and the uncommon Iceman, who was a bit damaged, against just Dust. And even though I attempted to run away for as long as possible, eventually he just had sidestep and just move and didn't really care about pushing or whatever because he was just putting up the smoke for damage. And at that point, Magneto was off of his reducers. So not that Dust KO'd him with the sand or with the damaging smoke cloud. It was with an attack that he hit needing a 9. But there are theme props in his favor. It happens. But I'm still winning because I have Iceman and Skids, and I'm trying to run away as much as possible, but I can't push Skids at all because she would die. And I would have an Iceman, whatever. So it got to the point where he just caught up with me. I was interrupted by a phone. I tried to kill Dust with some attacks because at that point I was dead the next turn anyway. He won the event, so it was okay. But at that point, I'm 1-2. I know I can't make it in, but my next game, I play against Neil with You Go Girl. I think that's Uncommon Beast and some other figures. This is a really quick game because my dice decided to just taunt me by, instead of missing more, literally rolling 3 crit hits in a row. Like, I don't know. It's just they were messing with me. But then they returned to haunt me the next day when we did post-rotation practice at 401, where at one point I had Killing Joke, Chair Joker, Range Combat Expert, 14 on a 14 on an 18 and miss. And then the next turn, 14 again and crit miss to death. So that was fun. But we did get some good practice at 4-1 for the post rotation, in addition to the open. But so very good productive weekend. But I already had Lockjaw from judging an open, and I'm imagining I'm going to judge again, so I don't need the qualification as much. But basically, Magneto does not like me for some reason. He's probably an anti-Semite or something.
Oh man, yeah, it sounded like it was a bit of a rough go for us this weekend. I can't win them all. Overall, I'm currently sitting in the not impressed strategy, not impressed seat as far as X-Men is concerned for sealed play. But that's just my jaded opinion. So I don't know if it's across the board yet or not. I don't know. What do you guys think of X-Men sealed so far, Jay?
I'm just more annoyed with the fact that literally every store in the area does sealed opens, which is why I'm planning on having 401's next one be constructed, because it's just literally every store in the area does it. I mean, if it's a good set or a bad set, you still want some variety. You don't want literally every event to be sealed. I think it's a pretty decent set. I mean, Scott made top 8, I think, with garbage, just absolute garbage. Like, he had gold balls on his team. So, I mean, you can play it as hard as possible, and I thought you had it yesterday, but there's only so far you can take complete and utter garbage and sealed, no matter what the set is. But I think it's better than some really bad sets we've had in the past, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Tiago?
I didn't play any sealed event of the X-Men, but I played a Battle Royale with the X-Men set, and the Battle Royale was like, okay, I got the first booster, then I had the Chase Mr. Sinister.
Oh.
So I like, okay, I have a Chase that doesn't move, but what else? So my whole team was like, okay, every time I get a new booster, I look, okay, let me see if I can find telekinesis, running shot, or charge. No. Okay. Next booster, again, no. So in the end, I was like, okay, my own move is sidestep. So let's sidestep into hinderings. And I look to the side, there is a M. I look to the other, there is a Banshee. I was like, okay, I'll be trampled here. And that's my experience with the sealed of the X-Men set.
All right. That said, let's talk about the future instead of the past, and let's talk about rotation. That's right. WizKids has announced the 2018 Heroclix Modern Age rotation, and very little of this is a surprise. There is one surprise this year. We're not cutting Civil War, the OP kit set. I was very caught off guard by that, but I guess they just realized what's the worst that set can do, right? How many times can I make that joke, right? All right. So what are we losing this year? We're going to be losing Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I heard a collective cheer off in the distance. Did you guys hear that? We're going to be losing Superman, Wonder Woman, World's Finest, and Uncanny X-Men. As well, we're also going to be losing the Fast Forces related to Nick Fury, World's Finest, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman vs. Superman, the Dawn of Justice set, and the Uncanny X-Men Fast Forces. As well, starter sets, we're going to be losing out on Captain America Civil War and the TMNT Ninja Turtles Master Mayhem starter set. Oh, shucks, guys. Not that one. Those figures were so good. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Good map, though.
We will be also losing the Dawn of Justice, Batman vs. Superman set, the Civil War movie set, and Ninja Turtles Series 1.
The chase.
We're also going to be losing some convention exclusives. Goodbye to Animal Man, Adam Strange, the Weird, Brainiac Skullship, Spider-Ham, Ghost Rider, Loki, the Doctor Strange. This is the one with the D20 Doctor Strange, and the Supreme Intelligence, as well as the ID cards for Ant-Man, Ares, Daredevil, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, Namor, Sentry, Shang-Chi, Spider-Man, Swordsman, Tigra. Not so surprising. we're going to be losing the DC ID cards convention exclusive. So goodbye to Phantom Stranger, Plastic Man, Dr. Fate, Lex Luthor, Cold, Captain Cold, Swamp Thing, and Constantine. Swamp Thing never got to use an ID card in Modern.
Same with Phantom Stranger, because the Chase and Cons retired right before it came out.
Yeah, you got to use the Phantom Stranger IG like for 3 days.
It was like a day and a half. I think I got to use it. And then out of the monthly OP kits for 2015 are all rotating out. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to lose out on the New Mutants, DC Teen Titans, Brotherhood of Mutants, Superman Enemies, Marvel Spider-Man Symbiotes, the Dick Grayson, Marvel Mystical, DC Arrowette. Oh, I forgot to take those out of my kit. The Marvel Knights, DC Suicide Squad, and the Abominable Snowman will be rotating out this year as well. They want to point out that the DC ID cards are being rotated, keeping them legal with restricted usage to a small number of characters. Internally, they were also always associated with the other DC ID cards, but they ended up being released a bit later. Their wording are also out of date compared to the current rulebook and the ID cards released. So they basically wanted to make all the ID cards that are out there just be the new wording come the new thing. That's their excuse on that one. So fairly big rotation, though. I think the rotation that gets rid of 2017 is going to be the biggest rotation ever. That said, Jay, you wanted us to kind of cover our 3 figures that we're going to miss the most out of this rotation, if I remember correctly, right?
I did technically say game elements, but basically got the gist of it.
Fair enough. I mean, I've been using the round table for a long time, but that's been out of necessity and survival. So I'm not going to miss that as much as not be able to rely on it. I'm going to let you, Taylor. Do you want to start this segment?
Okay, the 3 figures that will miss. The first one, of course, will be the Brainiac school ship, because I made the HA only for it to use it. So, like, okay, I made the HA retired, now the school ship retired. Oh, come on. But besides that, this one figure, just to say, I will never miss Nick Fury. Nick Fury can go away forever.
Yeah, he can go burn in a fiery pile of garbage fire that, whatever. I got you. If anybody is sad to see Nick Fury go, you were relying on him too hard.
But other thing that I really like, because the first set I got a factory set because I loved the set, was World's Finest. And see Clarion going away, Clarion was amazing. GQ was a monster. Yeah. So and the last figure, of course, from the same set, because how I say that I love that set, was the Kingdom Come Spectre, because, man, both dials was awesome. I was able to put the Spectre into the Sky Cycle to make one of the most random images you can imagine, because it's a Spectre in a cycle, but worked a lot.
Mm-hmm. So it's almost like the DC equivalent of Ghost Rider there.
Exactly. So that's my 3 figures.
Somebody's touching a wire or something. Sorry, it's just a really loud noise going through the speaker there. I apologize for anybody in headphones. Well, yeah, that's a really cool list. I didn't even remember what's it called? The Spectre. Like he was such a huge defense. I had to play against one that was riding a Thanos throne at Worlds one year. It was a nightmare to say the least. It's just like, what? Stop! Your defenses are so high. Stop. Jay, what 3 figures are you gonna miss in rotation this year?
He did most recently at the Constructed Open utterly. I mean, we didn't play the game because I knew I was going to get beaten, but either way, UXM Magneto, having a competitive Magneto is pretty cool. Although the fact that we got Lila Cheney a little bit too late kind of does suck. Maybe Canadian Nationals is pre-rotation.
I wouldn't count on it.
I wouldn't count on it either, but it would have been nice if Devin could actually bring that and win with it. Pretty cool for Canadian to win. Number 2 is going to be Mr. McSiaspidluck, because He is so silly, but I am comforted by the fact that we have Trelane, who has both a keyword, just the one, but still better than zero, as well as almost doing the same thing, but still not quite as good, but still. He is an awesome little imp, although he did. Well, I guess I lost to him at the U.S. Cup when Kevin was playing him. I didn't really lose to anything Mixie did. I just lost to the Jean Grey ID card, yo-yo, awesomeness, shenanigans. But the last figure is, of course, Casey Green Lantern, because I never got to really play him competitively, because by the time I would even have wanted to put him as a lower point, Shredders were just a thing. And I felt the pain of, oh, my Casey figure just died when I played Shredder, or not, played Spectre one time, and I was like, oh, he just died. That was eventful.
Yeah, I ended up doing that to somebody. It was Drake. I think I knocked it back into a wall or something like that, or it's just like, I'm just gonna not take damage on this and just deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially annoying because none of those guys had Invincible.
Yeah,
so it was impossible to do anything about it. But my favorite character, and yeah, his higher points never just really worked, unfortunately, because Nick Fury was always around, and you couldn't rely on essentially just the Casey rollout defensively. So that didn't really. Well, Mike Payne tried to make it work a little bit, but never really happened for me, unfortunately. Although we do have the kind of incredibly more playable 35-point version to go with, so that's pretty cool.
Okay. All right. So what am I going to miss? Just 3 figures that I'm going to miss. That's for sure. One of them is actually, I had to take a 2-way tie on one of the 3. I'm going to count them the same because I always use them together. Raphael and Michelangelo chases from the TMNT Series 1 set. God, I love those guys. And they count as 1 because they always kind of go together. I consider them like a 150-point character because they got to get their impervious off of each other, and the fact that they could flurry and do awesome. I just love them so much. They were so cool. And I never did get a chance to brave the competitive field with them. You know what? Honestly, I have to look back at my 2017 and look forward to 2018 and get a little bit more creative with myself. I've been kind of doing that one team all years thing that kind of tapers off at the end of the year and doesn't do so well for me. So looking forward, I'm going to try a little harder at switching things up as far as, competing in the game when it comes to Constructed. I don't remember the last time I competed in Constructed, though, because I do also have to get some practice games with that nonsense I've been talking about on Metafix to make it work. Update episode coming up on rotation, I promise. That said, a lot of what I was going to say, like Mr. Makes a Spitlick was definitely on my list, and Clarion and Tickle were on my list. But if there was somebody I had a lot of fun with and I am going to miss, it was Shifting Focus Superman. I wanted to keep going with him. I had some more ideas with him, and I'm going to miss the flexibility of that character because I never did get a chance to use him with the Elseworlds version. Like, I never got a chance to give that one a whirl. So I'm going to definitely miss that figure a ton. And then from there, the Atom. I leaned on that guy so much. That colossal little bugger. We're all guilty of it, guys. We all use the Atom a lot, and I'm going to miss him because he was one of the first Colossal I acquired from that set. And 2, he was probably the one I got the most mileage out of. So, yeah. Long and short of it is those are the 3 I'm going to miss the most, aside from a lot of what you guys mentioned. Like, there's so much this year I feel guilty about, like, losing because I'm never going to get a chance to give that figure an actual college try. I'm not going to miss Nick Fury, that's for sure. I'm not going to miss the broken mess that was Vartox. Tom, you're with me in spirit, buddy. I had to get your Vartox joke out for you, man.
Just to be sure, Vartox was the character that looked like Fred Mercury with the mustache.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. It looked like Sean Connery in whatever that movie. I can never remember.
Zardoz or something?
Zardoz, yeah. It's been kind of an ongoing joke with Tom, and if he's not here, I'm going to tell his joke for him. But that said, it does look like with a lot of things getting pushed back, that means I'm hoping, and the rumors flying around, some people that I know who happen to know, there's a good chance that Canadian National is going to get pushed back to a slightly warmer month, say June, which is pretty fantastic. And that will be post-rotation. Now, what this also means, and I kind of want to point this little tidbit out because it's kind of an important element. Not only are Nationals now going to be in a post-rotation world, the earliest part of the metagame, the smallest part of the metagame, Worlds is going to be is going to meet at the culmination of the year. So everything that will come out in the year 2018 will be out in time for Worlds, which means based on the 2018 year, that's going to be the biggest metagame that we get out of it. And I think that's actually kind of a cool idea where you get all the tools that were available that year, plus whatever what was there before the rotation to work with for Worlds. That's a sizable number of figures, given that we have, I think, 2 or 3 more sets to come out this year. Thank goodness it's calming down. My wallet, thanks you, WizKids. Thanks for cooling it this year.
Jason, just a little question. Do you think that WizKids will change the days of the retirement with the change of the world?
I don't think they should. I think they should keep it as is and start like we just get this season, right? Where, I mean, WKOs are allowed to be messy as far as the availability figure, in my opinion, right? Because WKOs are kind of the like, if we were to, and I hate doing this, but I do it all the time. So I was to compare it to Magic the Gathering or other competitive games. You have your high-end circuit, which in this case is going to be Worlds. You have your lower-end qualifiers to get to the qualifiers. In Magic, it's the preliminary Pro Tour qualifiers, then the Pro Tour qualifiers. Then there's your qualifiers after that. But you have this, like, you know, regional, national, world situation in this case, right? There's more regionals than nationals. There's only the one nationals. The one nationals get you into Worlds, but then there's the last chance of Worlds. I think we should enter the national season in the middle of the year when we hit this rotation with the youngest version of the metagame. The most limited version of the metagame should be the one we're playing with at Nationals. And at Worlds, it should be, now that you've seen a taste of what the tools you get are, here are all the tools you get to culminate in Worlds. So I don't think they should use Worlds as their base. I think they should keep it where it is and just go from there, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think, Diego? Do you think they should move the cuts to just before Worlds, or?
Thinking here because I like the cut before Worlds for one reason, because the meta shakes a lot if the cut is before Worlds. Mm-hmm. So everyone is new in the meta, everything is fresh. So it's I don't think that the Worlds becomes more competitive saying this, but I think it's because doing this, you see the Worlds are like, okay, the Worlds was the newest meta, so the tournament that will define the meta is the Worlds. With the Worlds in November or September, and the rotation in June, you can predict the meta more easily since you are looking the tournaments before.
That's fair. That's fair. You know, it's Jay. Let's get your thoughts on that.
It's kind of weird to just change it in the middle, because then you have 1 year where you just lose 6 months on a bunch of figures, and it's kind of, it becomes more confusing for everybody when you have a fixed system and you just change it out of nowhere, because it's been like this forever as far as I remember. I don't know if I would be happy about it.
They did remodify for Origins. Like they went from now, but herein lies the difference is they went from a July to a June. The difference is literally a month, right? If we push it all the way to fall, we're talking about a difference of like 6 months that we have to kind of figure out, and that takes 1 year and just blows it up. And it's a here or there kind of situation, right? Like Is the world's meta going to be predictable? To a certain degree, yeah, but a lot of times we still get that last set in October, November that can still kind of shake things up a little. Any meta that we think is like this in this game, have we ever really not been able to predict the meta? When 60% of the people that showed up at ROC World Cup had Unimind, who'd been out for maybe a month or two prior to it, and only showed up at 2 tournaments prior to, like, you know, it wasn't really unpredictable. We'd seen it, we knew it existed, and then 65% of the field was playing it. Now, you know, some could say I'm to blame for that. I don't think I am. I think players are smarter than that, and they can come to their own conclusions. The natural conclusion being the smartest one, right? So, you know, that's the way I see it, is that we can try to make the meta unpredictable, but when you take things away and limit the field, I think it's actually 10 times more predictable than a massive field that includes everything, right? I don't know. There's arguments that go in all senses, if you ask me. Like it could be argued that if you change it just before Worlds, then they have to readapt. I mean, but, you know, when's the announcement going to be made? When do we get to start readapting? What's the schedule like? Are they going to maintain the schedule? It's ebbs and flows, as it were, right? So, but I do get what you're saying, is try to shrink the meta, make it a small one, a compact meta for Worlds, and then let Nationals go crazy. And you know, in this case, I half agree, half disagree, right? And I kind of agree that it would be one of the two should be limited, like very limited to a small choice of figures for the metagame. I feel like Worlds for WizKids should be their showcase. And I think that's what they want to feel, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah. Hey, again, I don't disagree with you 100%. I just, you know, my opinion is the way I think they should do it. But I agree, you have a good idea with it. You know, agree to disagree kind of thing. You're not wrong. Oh man. Jay, you guys have anything you want to add to the conversation on that before we move on to questions?
No.
Just one thing.
Yeah,
Talk
sure.
about retirement.
Yeah.
We now have the shifting focus Superman without no one to shifting focus.
Yeah. Am I going to get more? Come on. You know what? You know what I want? I want that animated series, that one of those Superman and the animated series set. Give me a shifting focus version. Come on. I want a shifting focus in the Justice League Unlimited Superman. I'll do it. Watch me. I'll be that man. And give me a shifting focus Batman too. I want a shifting focus into Batman Beyond. I don't care. I'm crazy. I'll do it in practice, and then I'll throw my dice at the wall and come up with another team, and then make a joke. And like I said in my most recent episode, all my teams start as a joke. So, oh man. All right, so we're gonna move on to the fan questions. We're gonna start on the Facebook. If you're watching in the chat, put question in big capital letters in front of your question so that my eyes can catch it, and we can move the conversation along quickly. But first things first. Okay, guys. Oh, geez, we got people apologizing. Mike White and PJ Bowen both apologize for missing the episode. Did I give you the stamp, Jay?
No, we each have our own stamp, but I'm not at home.
We each have our own stamp. Okay, that means I've lost my stamp. Oh no, there it is. There it is. There it is. I found it. It's under a bunch of Star Trek stuff and Cosmo the dog. So
Cosmo.
Episode, boom, official. Chris Stockhouse has a question with the lovely. He put a stamp on it, guys. That said, what did the Metal Lab techs think of retirement purging? Selling all the pieces now that they're retiring in June, and some people will buy those same pieces back at the end of the year. It's something that happens, but I don't know if I like it because my incentive is to sell everything with value now, even though I really like most of those pieces and would hope to use them again one day. But more than likely, I'll just sit in a box and go untouched for a long time. Any thoughts or advice? Talk to you all next time. My purge started like 2 months ago. Because I don't have the storage space to keep a Golden Age collection. You know, and I'm also not as incentivized as other games to keep a legacy collection of things. I keep tidbits here and there, you know, put a couple things aside and just sell. I fire sale things. I sell them for ridiculously low prices. I have a guy who Heroclix Stan was complaining that my prices were so low that people were taking things away before he could get a hold of them. Well, of course, you're gonna lowball me too. I mean, that's the nature of the business, right? But that said, if you're like me and only wish to maintain a modern collection with a couple Golden Age tidbits, then by all means, do your fire sales, do your trades, use that stuff that you're getting rid of. Because it's all gonna retire in June if you keep your collection like me. If you prefer to keep a bigger collection and legacy that up, play Golden Age games, don't get rid of that stuff. Keep it, man. It's cool stuff, and you'll still have it to play with at all times. I mean, kitchen table games are some of the best games of HeroClix, guys. Enjoy your stuff, play with it. Toys, man, enjoy your toys. Tega, what are your thoughts on the matter?
Like you said. My opinion, only mine. Don't need to follow me.
Yep.
I only play competitive. So I don't care about no modern age figures. I don't have any silver age or golden age figure. I only have modern age. So, like Jason, to have an idea, the Whiskey is Open that we had here, most of the figures I didn't have because I don't have any more World's Finest ID card. I don't have the teleporter anymore. I have to borrow lots of my half of my team was borrowed. But that's me. I only play competitive. So if WizKids had a Golden Age official format or any format that is official and had use other figures that aren't modern, okay, maybe I'll keep some. But since WizKids doesn't have this kind of format, I only have the modern figures. So like in December, I was already selling everything.
Yeah. Now Jay has a slightly different tale on this one.
Considering how many figures I buy from you.
There it is. Sorry. Yeah, I should correct. I sell all my figures to Jay.
Well, I've been trying to keep stuff for competitive purely, less myself. So I try to anticipate retirement and dump anything that's purely competitive before the fact of the announcement. So before it starts to lose value. But otherwise, I like to keep my stuff for my casual awfulness, considering I don't have multiple kids running around and I have enough storage space. But I do get rid of the stuff that's only competitive because I don't anticipate playing any Golden Age ROC events to the point where I want to keep Golden Age competitive stuff just because. Like, I got rid of my Supreme Intelligence months and months and months ago. And I was happy I did because I was never going to use it again. So I'm 50-50.
All right. Next up, Mike Bockley. Hello, Metal Lab. Well, rest in peace, most modern figures, but change is good and must be done to advance the game. With that being said, I am disappointed that the DC convention IDs got a little shafted in terms of cycle time, but understand WizKids wants all IDs except for X-Men to be what is available. With that being said, barring Shield level 7, what do you think will be the most influential ID in the metagame? Also, shout out to Swamp Thing ID that never had a figure available during its modern playtime, as I mentioned. As always, keep on being awesome. Peace. Well, you're not going to see a Shield level 7 in the metagame because it's not legal anymore. That said, I think Colossus has a place in the metagame. Anybody can disagree with me all you want, but you're wrong. Because there is still a version that breaks through walls, if I remember correctly. The What If version breaks through walls on walking?
No, the X-Force set one.
X-Force one. Yeah, so we have a Colossus who breaks through walls. Which is, will replace our use of the Hulk on the Shield level 7 ID card. What else are we going to see? We're going to see Professor X, because shape change and the ability to mess with things is going to be great, although the Dreamer version is probably the worst thing I've ever seen in my life for competitive play.
Not that it's legal anyway.
I don't think you can put that on an ID card anyway, right?
Yeah. But the Prime version is awesome.
Yeah, the Prime version is okay. Yeah. So I wouldn't put it past the Professor X to be used. It does depend on other things. And, I mean, beyond the shadow of a doubt, we're going to see Wolverine. The free action heal inspiration is enough. The fact that you'll also possibly get a Wolverine to do some charging and blades, because that's what Wolverines do, is pretty bonkers, in my opinion. So, I mean, just, you got – and out of what I said, I think it's Impervious that you get from Colossus for inspiration. Mm-hmm. And the way that inspiration works now, you burst and then you do your thing with Colossus and you have that inspiration. You burst with the Wolverine. You pop the Wolverine out in the middle of 4 guys. All 4 guys take a free action and heal. Money, baby. And then you got Professor X to take a turn and shape change after he's gone and mess with your opponent's formation. Because that's one of the things, a rare one. People look at it and say, ew, he doesn't let me mind control attack. He does let you change positions, move positions, put things in your better placement. And, you know, the Bifrost isn't him making an attack. I'm just saying. Go take a walk up. Go take a long walk off a short rainbow bridge. I don't know.
Oh, we're falling.
I didn't attack him. What do you think, Diego?
So, like you said, the Professor X ID card, but I think in a little different way because the Prime Professor X. Imagine the scenario. My opponent has like 3 Carnages on 10 points. I use the Overdrive or any carry taxi with the Captain America, go close to my opponent, call in the Professor X Prime on the low dial, shoot the 3 Carnages, and make 3 Pogs with blades.
What else? You want to make Pogs with blades? I'm making Pogs with blades now.
Exactly. So I really think the Professor X ID will be really good because of the Prime one. But like I said, the Brazilian meta is aggressive like hell because we have Overdrive everywhere, Captain America everywhere.
Yeah.
So the most common play that I saw in the WizKids Open was someone carry Captain America cross the half of the map, bring on Wolverine, charge Flurry. Was the most common. Everyone was doing that. And like you said, Wolverine ID card is insane because you have a charge Flurry figure that can perplex X-Men and heal one. Why not?
All right, Jay.
Yeah, just Professor X ID just gives a stupid amount of options because you get a good inspiration. You have essentially 3 different things with 2 different sideline characters because you can just mind control everybody and make them move, or you could triple target Psychic Blast, kill 3 things, get 3 Pogs, or you could triple target mind control like a Carnage, a small thing, and their big character, and then their Carnage is really, or I guess not Carnage because of Colossal Indifference, but basically getting all those awesome stats is pretty cool. I used Professor X's ID yesterday in practice, and it was very effective to just be able to give really tiny, pathetic, like, what was it? I mind controlled the awesome Taxi Green Lantern and other good characters, and I got the stat. He got the stats off of Chase Green Arrow. It was dumb. It was really dumb and really good. And also just the random shape change. Although, until Shredder's proven to not be the best thing ever, I don't really care about rollouts. I just want that Invincible. Where's my Superman ID, guys? Where is it? Where's my Invincible?
Also, probably an honorable mention would be Storm. There's a couple really good Storms, especially the one with the running shot pulse wave. She's a higher point, a little harder to use, but you also get the 50-point Storm out of that who could TK, carry 3 things, you know, especially the way carry changed recently. Like, you no longer lose the character off the ID card out of it because you move them place, right? So.
Oh, just saying one thing about this carry. You can using the skits, the OPK one, 115 points. Hawkeye, he calling Hawkeye. Hawkeye starts running shot carrying him, so he never goes away. It's awesome.
Yeah, man. There's some things we can do with these ID cards. So I'm not crying about it yet. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do with them in the future. All right, next up, Michael Fedor, the Alpha patron. If you want to check us out at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks, any donation towards that is much appreciated. Michael has been giving it to us since the beginning, as it were. But yes, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you that Nick Balls of Fury is on his way to official retirement? Actually, he said Nick Balls of Furry, but I haven't looked at his pants, and I'm not gonna judge. But I don't think a scale of 1 to 10 is enough. So I'm gonna give it a 3,075. That I'm guilty of using him, I'm just bored of him. Like, and honestly, you look at it and you say, Nick Fury is a threat, but he never changed the way I played. I just knew Nick Fury existed and played my game around him, and that's also impossible. So Nick Fury was an unavoidable mess that you just had to deal with, and that's probably why I played big teams, so that when Nick Fury shot didn't ruin my day for the rest of the week, right? So that said, that's my call is 375,000 out of 10. Diego?
I will give it a little lower, like a 9.9.
9.9.
This 0.1 is because I won nationals using Nick Fury on the field. So it has a really small room in my heart, but a small one.
But now you can happily put him in a frame and never touch him again. So there's your 0.1 right back. 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Jay?
He gets an 11, and each one is represented by a middle finger.
So kind of like this. All right. Na, hey, goodbye. All right. Next up, Weston Steiner. What do you predict will be the top 3 most seen ID? I kind of already answered this to a certain degree. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I apologize, Weston. We got your question with Mike Bockley's. All right. Next up, question from Matthew Ryan. When is Canadian Nationals, and will it be post-retirement? We're all speculating on it. We speculated on that earlier. But I do have to add, Matthew Ryan, bring your sword, and I will bring my sword.
You still have the sword?
Yeah, I can't give that thing away, man. It's sitting in my closet. I still have it. I figured me and Matt have got to start posing with it together, like, clashing swords or something like that, because we both won a sword courtesy of the Jacks on Queen down in Elmsvale. Great venue to play. I didn't get a chance to play in the second round of WKOs, but apparently they're maintaining that sword thing, which is it's equal parts awesome and annoying. I also do want to point out Matt, like myself, has a number of children running around his house. So, oh boy, 2 dads, 1 swords, right? All right. So we move into the chat. Okay. Oh, thank you for catching that for me, Aaron. So it looks like Reaper Blue Gear Gaming. Do people play and act differently at ROC as opposed to regular game stores? I'm guessing you're talking about your weekly events, and it depends on what you define as act differently. I think you actually go on to that later. Competitive edge is noticeable, and do people get PO'd when losing games? I mean, competitive edge is up, that's for sure. I know I play a completely different, less laughy game. Well, okay, I'm still trying to make people laugh, but it's a slightly less laughy game in competitive events. Not specific to the ROCs, like specific to anything. The ROC, WKOs, Nationals, Worlds. Like, I try to bring my A game as far as my competitive edge is concerned. I play a little harder, play a little meaner as far as my teams are concerned. I try to play teams that don't limit my opponent's play, but I'm not going to be 100% innocent of that forever. Eventually, I'm going to have to do that. But the long and the short of it is, people get a little bit more intense when the stakes go higher. And when everybody's stakes go higher, your teams get a little bit more intense. The gameplay gets a little bit more intense. People do get a little bit more frustrated because the amount of work it takes to make these teams, and patience with that does get a little required. But it's never to the extent of fights breaking out at ROCs or anything like that. It's competitive play, man. It happens. People get intense. They love their game, right? So. That's kind of my thing about it. I don't know, Diego, anything you've noticed that might be different from what I said there?
The only thing is that if you go to casual to competitive, the team changes, because I'm not taking a Unimind to a casual match. The last casual I had, I was using the dark side from the strategy game alone.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Jay, any observations you want to add?
I mean, the people are probably going to be different. like some people just don't play competitive, some people don't play casual, so just inherently you're going to see different people. So, and even among people that go to both, I mean, yeah, there's going to be different level of tension of actually wanting to win your games. If you lose at your local, whatever, nobody cares. I lose at local games. It doesn't matter. But as competitive, it matters a little bit more. But I found the competitive players are generally on par with niceness and general being good people, the same as any casual. So not much of a difference there.
Yeah. One major observation I can make as far as the behavior of competitive players is that one player, when you have two players at the table, one player could end up defining the way both players kind of act. And it's always the lowest player who defines how it goes. And what I mean is the meaner, more rule stickler, more jerky, less smiley player will make the other one be like that. That's not to say that all players are like that. Some do get like that, but a lot of times you don't see those guys at the top tables, and that's for a reason. Because if you're trying to manipulate and get disqualifications and get rules and everything like that, like if you're trying to win on that kind of stuff, you don't, because you come across a player who's just good and you lose. And that's just a common thing. Most memorable moment, I was with Chris Stockhouse. I was playing a game against him at ROC World Cup. I think it was 2 rounds before the win and in rounds. And it was just before there was that disqualification kerfuffle. And we're watching the opponents to our right of us just be nasty to each other about rule sticklering and all this kind of stuff. And, the game hasn't even started yet. And I think they had 4 different judge calls. And it's like, get it together. You know what I mean? Heroclix has the least amount of payout as far as prizing is concerned for a tournament, but it is also the most fun game to play competitively. Get intense in the game, get excited, but don't be a jerk to the human being across the table from you, man. It's an intense game. Some things happen. Oh, crap. That die roll didn't work. That guy made his impervious. Darn it. You get a little intense, like, oh, I'm really trying to win. But at the same time, you're not being mean. You're just being intense. Intense is not mean. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I'm talking to our audience. Aaron Cantu, the Rugged Doogie, throws in a comment that there was an episode where Superman posed as Batman to prove Batman wasn't Bruce Wayne in the animated series. There we go. There's your shifting focus. I can shifting focus Batman into Superman and Superman into Batman. What?
But really, you could have a figure if there's Superman or Batman, if they're shifting focus both. Why not?
I mean, keep that mechanic alive. It was so good. It gave people a Superman that we don't have to watch some 400-point Superman come into play again. It's like, well, I'm never going to play that one. Like, this was a playable Superman for people who like Superman. I hate Superman. It was a figure I was able to play with.
It is my favorite version of Superman as well, and I do enjoy playing it all the time, all day, every day.
It was well stat. Like, right now, it's got a stat line that is fan-freaking-tastic. I love this stat line. And like it's got a certain number of clicks, which is great. So that means we have this baseline of a 90-point Superman. Go with it. Just roll with it. If you have to dial back the powers a little, dial back the powers a little. If you got to change the way the defensive one works, go ahead, man. You just rotated one. Make a new one. We could use it. So it's a mechanic I wish they would. I want them to stick with so hard. All right.
Yeah, that Deadpool looks to be ridiculously strong post rotation with all the. I mean, there's no IDs he can't call in pretty much, so you're going to see a lot of play out of him.
Yeah.
This is one of those situations I run into where I've been accused of this before, being ahead of the curve. But the problem with being ahead of the curve is that I'm thinking of a curve that happens before a problem over here is fixed. So all of a sudden I run into this like, oh, look, I'm getting ahead of them. What stopped me? Don't get too far ahead of the curve, kids. All right. Looks like the last question here. William Dickey, with the introduction of the Poison Ivy and the Mr. Freeze ID cards, when do you think we will see the Arkham villain IDs come out with the animated series set, or are we getting a different set? I'd count on it being the animated series set because I don't think they want to over Batman us for a year. But then I've accused them of not wanting to do something that seems reasonable, and they've done that unreasonable thing. So, my guess would be the animated series set. What about you, Diego?
I think it'll be another set because they don't say anything about ID cards on the animated series yet. So I think it'll be another set, but
maybe you could be right. Jay?
I mean, they don't really need it to sell the set because that was just going to sell itself.
Oh yeah,
but
that's just going to fly off the shelf so fast.
Yeah,
like the immediate response to that set was just absolute gonna buy, which seems to be the opposite I'm seeing with Infinity, which is sad because Infinity is so much plastic, but it's also the extra cost, and it's like I understand the kind of the 50-50 on it. But I'm more positive about how where I'm coming from here is look at sealed games with Infinity and look how awesome that looks, right? Like just imagine it's just somebody walks and it's like, what's with all the big things all over the place? Right?
Jason, imagine today a game. You have your figures, your like normal figures, casual figures, and the other side has Eternity, Living Tree, Master Chaos, and Order. The guy could, if it was a comic accurate game, the guy was able to, okay, erase your side of the map and you're out of existence.
Sure. I mean, but this, like, we're talking about the sight of that in sealed. You know what I mean?
Battle Royale.
Or yeah, battle royales are gonna be insane. It's some guy is gonna be like, I'm passing my colossal. I'm taking your colossal.
600 points.
Yeah. It's like I'm passing my spider buggy. I'm taking your spider buggy. Whatever I get last picked, I'm putting in the spider buggy. Don't sleep on this set, guys. It's going to be fun as hell in sealed. I mean, and if it becomes unbalanced, then it's fun as hell.
Okay, I have just 30 point figures, 45 points figure, and a 600 figure.
How am I supposed to build with this, guys? One observation I did make is pictures coming out of Gamma. We're not seeing Colossal Retaliation dials on a lot of the 2x2 figures, which is kind of good and bad. Like, we got used to the Colossal Retaliations. I'm hoping they're just being sparing with them. I mean, given the figures that we saw what? Eternity, Lord Order, and Master Chaos, and what was the other one? Was there 3 or 2? Was it just a 2?
Actually, it was 4 because I'm trying to remember the name in English actually. Is the Living Tribunal?
Oh yeah, Living Tribunal. He's not going to be Colossal Retaliator.
But he wasn't showed the figure, but was written on the.
Yeah, it's one of those things we know exists, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's one more. Either way, they're all the kind of figures that are like they're not going to just one and done something. They're gods, right?
Exactly.
So the minimum 100 is fine. I'm okay with that. To be brutally honest, so. Anyway, it's going to be neat to be able to play sealed with stuff that we usually get in super boosters, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm kind of just all over the place with the thought there because we're out of questions. I'm about to do the outro. Before we head out, though, Diego, is there anything you wanted to add?
I want to thank you guys for calling me here, and that's it.
Thanks for watching, and thanks for being here. Yeah. All right. Jay?
No, not really. Thanks for hosting because it is a lot more work than I thought it was.
It is. And we're going to pull back the curtain for a little second here. It's really hard to manage these segues and keep the conversation going, keep the flow going. It's not very simple. So, Jay, I want to thank you for all the hard work that you've been putting in so far.
No problem.
And you've been doing a pretty good job. You've been getting progressively better at it. And the segue is something that you're going to come naturally to. So don't get down on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it up. I look at my early days where I had no idea what I was doing. So, I mean, I think the first 5 or 6 episodes of this, we were interviewing other people and we couldn't get a handle of it. So You're doing a great job, Jay. Thank you very much. I'm here to tag in for a little bit just because it looks like some of the stress is off of my area of expertise at work. So, with other areas getting focused on, I get a little bit more leeway, and I can take a little bit of time on Mondays to make for you guys. So that said, here's something I haven't done in a while. I want to thank our sponsors over at hcrealms.com. Check them out. It's a one-stop source for all things Heroclix, guys. We love them. We use them. I mean, I think I did at least 3 or 4 research points per episode when I was on here, and I am blinking hardcore. What happened there? Woof. Let's try that again. All right. Check out the units section. It is the ultimate source to track and build your teams and collections. And don't look at that team that's on there. I swear that's not a team I'm working on with Amber. But you can keep and track your teams on there. Whatever computer you have, it's gonna save in your cache, and you're gonna come back to your teams and build them a little later on. You can add, delete whatever figures you're putting in there. Your sets are all there. It keeps track of the modern and not modern stuff for you. Come June, all this stuff that's not going to be modern is going to be gone. It's a great place to manage that. The forums, it's where the conversation is happening, though it is the internet. Be careful where you go. And of course, check out the shop. Put in the coupon code Marriott for 10% off of your purchase. We're also brought to you in part by Majestics, Apex Insiders, the majesticccg.com/Apex-Insiders. You see it up there. You'll see it in the description below. It is a great brain dump for some of the great minds in Heroclix. This is the premium stuff that they share. These guys are the types of guys that share their information on a regular basis, but this is also a place where you can get other things. Look at this. We got top 10 lists. We got PJ Bolin writing articles. You know him. He's on our show on a regular basis. Adam Friedman discussing Barrier in the Wall with Daniel Powell. It's a whole bunch of cool brains talking about Heroclix. I swear, I think Patrick asked me to write something, and it's an editorial, and I just got to come up with it myself. Every so often, I'm a contributor as well. Check it out, majesticccg.com/Apex-Insiders. $2 a month gets you the premium content, or, you can jump in on a regular basis and get in on some of the free content that they do provide. A lot of all the tournament updates, like the results, are usually given as part of the non-paid portion of the site. So check that out. It's awesome. And if you want to help support us directly, check us out at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. I can tell you for sure that we are less than halfway still to our tournament format. We're trying to get there, but I doubt it's ever going to happen because we have a small community. But I am aiming to get a Married with Clicks type tournament series going. Honestly, it's a thing that's not going to cost venues anything extra. We're going to provide pricing once we figure out how we're going to manage the pricing and how we're going to manage the scoring and get all that stuff going. That stuff is going to take a little bit of financial effort on our parts because we're going to have to set up some kind of setup that's going to need to be managed on a regular basis, and that's not free. So, anything past a certain mark is going to go towards that. And we would really like to get this series up because the goal is to get an all-common series of tournaments going, kind of inspired by Magic and a Pauper movement, as it were. But I want to get that going for Heroclix to see how that goes. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for Tiago for joining us on the show. Jay for minding the shop while I've been absent, and I will be absent again very shortly, I'm sure. And of course, guys, it's rotation time. It's time to get your new teams up and running because you need some practice, because practice will make your team better. Have a good night, everybody.